as a youth, when I was around 12 to 13, war started, and it started which I never realized what was going on. It was just a little child around, and the war started first in Liberia, and it had this warlord called Charles Taylor had started war in Liberia, and that war continued to spread and enter into Sierra Leone. It started first for democracy. They were spreading. They want human rights for the poor people. Them at that time, Sierra Leone was on a one-party system of government, and there was no opposition. There was no democracy, and the diamonds and all the riches of the country was just going on one side. So the rebels by the name of RAF during those times come with this vision of trying to liberate the people with a slogan and fighting for democracy. But after the war continued, it was not democracy, it was all for diamonds. And the very diamonds they were fighting for, I born in that very land. The name of the land is Connaught District. His name is Connaught District, Kwedu Town. And my father raised us by mining diamonds. That is what my business, we call it Jew man in Africa. My father buy and sell diamonds and mine diamonds. So my father never go to school, but through from diamonds, minerals and resources, from that he generate to mine all of us. We are up to 22 in numbers, you see. And but when the war had started, would I take it play, whenever I take it serious. And people also always say, no, them rebels and never reach to big towns, and we just stop in the village. But after 1 year passed, it started in the early 1990. It was started in early 1990. By after 1991, the rebellion started to come around these villages where we was, and rebels started to come in, and people in the villages start to run and come in the town, which is Kwedu Town, and they were saying it, that the rebels will come. They advising us for we to leave the town, to desert the town. But the chief and the elders, they say no, Moko State rebellion will never come. And during that first attack, I was like 13 years old. In the morning time, the rebellion entered the city. It was total chaos. The rebels now started to use campaign to start to look for local children to use in the war and to mine diamonds. But before them time, my father never liked we to be part of the war. He had said it, he don't want none of we to be any part of the war, because like he just realized that the war was nothing about liberation of the people. It was something about self-enrichment or something to exploit the people. And so he didn't really know that from day one. Even when the government soldiers, they were distributing cards to recruit some of the vigilantes to join, then bring those cards to us. My father said, no, we will not accept it. None of his children will join the war. And never really condone that part. You see, so when we come by my grandmother and I in Kaima, I was there with my mother. And my father went out, but during that first attack, he killed 2 of my uncles there. One of my uncles then take him as a rebel. See, if you see him, uncle said his 5 senses was not correct. It was kind of in between, you see. But if you see him, he will take it like any kind of street child, you see. And when them see him, and kill him. My next to the uncle, when the rebellion come for our house, he resist against them. And that was the first attack right in front of us. And cut off his head. You see, that was the first time. And during the time I was small, when rebels, the military were going to the war front and coming back, they used to take human head and put them in front of the car, of the jeep. And we used to follow them as a child. We never know nothing. We used to run behind those heads and go. And all those things, we never, till I come to Jamaica, know how those things affect me. But with my mother now, after we were in the village, my mother had decided the rebellion take over the town after the government troop with a West African peacekeeping force by the name of ECOMOG come and drive the rebels in, so we call everybody back to come to the town. And during that time, my mother take me and bring me back to the city. We come to the city. So we were staying by some family friends, and after that, it's okay. She will leave me there and make me carry on with school.
Okay,
and
so
she will go back to the town, because they said the rebel and leave the town already. The government troops had dropped them away, so the town was peaceful internet, so the military had taken over. It was really confusing during that time. The war was going on, and there was a military coup, and the military, they wouldn't take power now during those times. Them now start to kill the innocent civilian who they're supposed to protect. The military start to look for diamonds now. So both sides killing the civilians. So it was not about military trying to protect the civilians, it was military trying to protect their own interest. So they was in need of diamond. So the rebel too need of diamond. So the poor innocent people now, they at the mills get caught up in this. So my mother left me in the city for me to carry on with my studies. So I'm gone with my little brother and my little sisters and come to the village back. So while I stayed. But when my mother during the first attack said we would have cut off from food, didn't have food, there was not food to eat, and my little brother also passed away. He died of malnutrition, and by the time we reached to be close to the, because we used to walk like thousands of hundreds of miles, because no vehicle, no transport. When the rebel attacked, people used to carry the local things and we able manage to escape with. We used to walk hundreds of miles to come back to the next town. And my little brother could not stand all those pains and died. My mother used to carry her on his back. My mother never knows say that till we reach. When my mother take her from the back now and look the child stiff like this, and all things stiff. See, so true for my death. And my mother take that really serious. And he accused my father of abandoning us to go with the next part of the family and to leave us. I could understand during those times, I could understand her pain, how she felt to lose a child. And as I said, we never get back with our father again. And both of them never really come back together again. See, now so them separated, them end up dying. So while I was in Freetown now, called the city of Sierra Leone, it's called Freetown. So while I was in Freetown, my mother come back. So she was now in Kwedu town. All of a sudden, after 1 year, the rebel them come back again in the town. And this time, when them come in the town, it was the rebel and the military was joining hands together to come to the town. It was not like it's the rebel alone. The military connect with the rebel now. So time range, you can't tell which one is the rebel, you can't tell which one is the military. Them have the same military boot, they put on the same military gear during the rainy season, then carry the same military raincoat, them have the same gun. So when the people are running, say, yo, look, rebel are come, and the same rebel, the military. The same rebel are dressed like military, and shoot up the people then. So it was really chaos. So when I was in the city now, trying to do my O level, my mother was behind rebel line and then they go cut her back. See, so but when the people come in, all the message my mother was sending, don't come down here. Stay where you are in the city, carry on with your studies, don't come. But I was not feeling too good, because even I was in the city to know that my mother is behind rebel line, and me there in the city with peacefulness, not my brother, not my mother alone, two of my siblings, my younger sister with my brother, and I didn't feel good. But all of a sudden now, the city started to be under pressure again of rebel coming back in the city. So I said to myself, well, this got to be the case. I prefer go back home to my mother. Instead of rebel will come kill me in the city without seeing my mother, I will go. See? So I take transport to other people then who was coming to the same village my mother was. The village name was Kaima. So we traveled the whole day. So when we reached close to the town, we disembarked from the vehicle. So you have to use bushes to bypass the main route. Because if you're on the route, you will meet either the military or you will meet the rebels. So we have to pass through the main route to the village. And during those times, Connaught District, if you watch Blood Diamond, you will understand really what I'm trying to say. Connaught District, we have Syrians, it's a mixed population. It have Syrians, it have all the clans who they in Sierra Leone inhabited in that land because of the diamonds. So when people used to come out from the town, the military used to give them convoy. They used to get at the vehicle, them like up to like 20 vehicles or 12 vehicles, and they get a military escort. And when people are coming out from the town, the same military, then bypassing the people then and come set ambush for them. When the vehicle are come, they open fire on the vehicle and kill people then and take off diamonds and take off the money and other jewelries then. So that is how that second attack happened, and the Nigerian West Africa Peacekeeping Force, they are all the joining force was fighting against those two forces then. So when I come back to my mother, who reached in the evening time, I come to the village, and I end up seeing my mother, and I end up seeing my grandmother. My mother was happy to see me. My local brothers, they were happy. So to my grandmother, for a while she never see me. Everybody was happy, but after I started all the reason with my mother, she was not happy. She tell me, say, she glad to see me though, I come, but she didn't happy for me to come back in this condition at this present time. Because at that time, the rebels were looking for youth around 15. I was 16 years old in time now. See, because the war lasted for 10 years. At that very village, 3 days, 2 to 3 days, the rebels come in that town there. And that was the worst attack I ever encountered. And when they came in the town, when they reached in the town, they entered in the town. And my grandmother could not walk. My grandmother, during her whole age, she used to limp with stick, and then set the house afire, and then burned her there alive. And I was really fighting to go in there to take her off, and the rebel embraced me. And if you could see all those marks, are rebel marks on my hand, that is brace. And I lucky to have those marks. Some of my other comrades, they never have those marks. Their hands was amputated. You see, so while I was there with them, and right in front of us, and raped my little sister, and I fight, because I didn't really stand up like that to see all those things was happen, and they beat me seriously, and they beat me, and they hit me, all those wounds. I have some wounds on my head, said we. So, raped my sister, and killed my grandmother in front of us, and other youth them, then beat other youth them, and then kill other villagers them around, and then decided to take me with some other youth to carry us in their camp. And my mother was begging and crying for them to release me. That time my eye all thing covered with blood, see, and tell me so to get up, and then raise me up, and then take some of the looted things them in the village, and then put them in each and one to carry on our heads. My mother begged them for them to leave me, and tell my mother, if my mother repeat that again, they will shot me. So my mother left them. And that was the last time I ever see my mother. There was a time I used to cry over those things though, but it made me stronger. See, I used to cry over those things. I used to cry a lot. And when them bring me come to them camp now, the rebels, they were heartless, because they was giving them cocaine, you see, and that's why if you see on my poster, because when I was behind the rebel lines, there are a lot of things I see, and the same people, this is my poster for the release of my songs and this thing, and the same people who are coming to make peace as United Nations, and the same white people them said we will come for make peace between we, they are the ones who are sending guns and ammunition with the rebels in exchange for diamonds, you see. And when me went behind rebel line, I see those things with my eyes. I was a youth, but I could not visualize those things till I come to Jamaica. During the war, Sierra Leone was under embargo. No arms, no plane, no ship, nothing can go in, nothing can come out. But yet still, there was plane passing and dropping guns and ammunition for the rebels then, and in exchange for diamonds. And those diamonds reach in America. See, those diamonds reach in America, and those diamonds reach for our black brother their neck, as rappers, as other people taking as a win. Those diamonds reach, and England said we, right? And those diamonds reach all over the world. And while we were suffering from rebel war, them amputating our hands and limbs if we resist against the rebels. So in my own point of view, I don't see it like it was a democracy that was spreading. It was diamonds that was spreading. You see? And to make it worse now, them that go shoot a movie for blood diamonds. And those things are still a reflect the poor people who went through those things and turn it as a movie. If black people can't see them eyes, those things have to open them eyes. And believe me, coming to Jamaica and coming to Edna Manley, those things helped me a lot to open my eyes